Hello everyone and welcome to Control Theory Tutorials. This is a series of short how-to control theory tutorials. We will cover from simple to more complex control theory topics. In this particular tutorial, we explain how to write an equation describing a control system block diagram, shown over here, and how to derive closed-loop transfer functions for reference, which is a set point and disturbance signals. First of all, let's explain this block diagram. R is the reference or set point signal. In the case of controlling a room temperature, this can be the set point for the temperature. Y, which is also given over here, is the measured output. In the case of the control system for temperature control, this is the measured temperature. U is the controller output, D is the disturbance, P is plant, and C is the controller. There are at least two approaches to solve this problem. The first approach, which is a direct approach, is to directly write mathematical equations describing this block diagram. The second approach is based on the superposition principle. In this video tutorial, we explain both of these approaches. In both cases, that is, in the case of the first and the second approaches, the first step is to transform all the signals as well as the mathematical models in the complex Laplace domain, which is shown over here. Structurally speaking, the block diagram has the same form. However, the signals are transformed signals from the time domain, namely this block diagram is in the time domain, to the complex Laplace domain shown over here. The Laplace transform of the reference signal is denoted by capital R of S. Then, the Laplace transform of the measured output signal is denoted by capital Y of S. Laplace transform of the controller output is similarly U of S. The Laplace transform of the disturbance is capital D of S, and the transfer function of our plant is capital P of S, and the transfer function of our controller is capital C of S. And these signals are shown over here. Note that it is a standard convention that signals in the time domain are written with lowercase letters, such as the ones shown over here, and the signals in the transform Laplace domain are denoted by capital letters, which you can see over here. Okay, let's start with the first approach, that is with the direct approach. We will start with this output Y of S and we will go backwards. From here, we have that Y of S is equal to the plant transfer function P of S. And let's see what we have over here. Note that this signal is getting inside of this transfer function, and this signal is U of S plus D of S. Consequently, over here we will write U of S plus D of S. And if we multiply this equation, we will obtain over here P of S multiplying U of S plus P of S multiplying D of S. Good. Next, let's see what is U of S. Remember that we are proceeding backward. From here, we have that U of S is C of S multiplying R of S minus Y of S. In fact, this signal over here that exits from this summation block is error in the complex Laplace domain. So let's write it down. So we have that U of S is C of S multiplying the error in the complex Laplace domain. From here, we can see that error is equal to, I'll write it here, R of S minus Y of S. Now, we can substitute this equation in this equation, and as the result, we will obtain that Y of S is equal to P of S, and Instead of u of s, we can simply type c of s. Let's see what do we have here. We have r of s minus y of s. And plus this term over here, which remains unchanged, p of s, d of s. Great. So what to do next? Well, note over here one very important thing. We have on the right-hand side y of s and on the left-hand side y of s. So let's group all the terms multiplying y of s on the left-hand side. It's easy to see from this equation that we have p of s, c of s minus y of s. When it goes to the left-hand side becomes plus. So we have y of s plus p of s, c of s. What do we have over here? We have y of s, and this is equal to p of s, c of s, multiplying r of s, plus p of s, multiplying d of s. And that's it. And then from this equation, we can obtain our final expression. And the final expression is that y of s is equal to, let's see what do we have. We have a fraction. Here we have r of s. In the denominator, we have p of s multiplying c of s. Actually, in the numerator, we have p of s multiplying c of s. And in the denominator, we have 1 plus p of s multiplying c of s. Then over here, we will have p of s over 1 plus p of s multiplying c of s multiplying d of s. And that's it. This is our final expression. Next, we solve this problem by using the second approach. The second approach relies on the superposition principle. Let's explain the superposition principle. By using the superposition principle, we can express y of s as the sum of y with the subscript r of s plus y with the subscript d of s. Let's explain yr and yd. First of all, let's focus on yr. The superposition principle computes yr like this. It assumes that d of s is equal to 0. That is, it's not affecting our system. Okay. Then we derive the output as the function of r of s, and that's basically yr. Okay. Once we do that, we do the following. We assume that now r of s is equal to 0. That is, r of s doesn't exist. And then we derive y of s as the function of d, and in this way we obtain yd. Once we do that, we sum yd and yr, and we obtain y of s. Simple as that. The superposition principle can be applied over here because the system is linear. Keep in mind that thing. The superposition principle doesn't apply to non-linear systems. Okay, let's compute yr of s. As mentioned previously, we assume that d of s doesn't exist. That is, we set it to 0. Then y becomes yr as well as over here. And then, similarly to the previous case, we go backwards and we can write yr of s is equal to, what do we see over here? We see p of s multiplying u of s. And let's proceed further. Instead of u of s, from this graph we can write c of s, and over here we will have yr of s minus, or actually other way around, minus yr plus r of s. And that's it. Now what can we do over here? We can take this yr and put it on the left-hand side, and we obtain yr of s plus p of s, c of s, yr of s. And this is equal to p of s, c of s, r of s. And then from here, we can write 1 plus p of s, c of s, multiplying yr of s is equal to p of s, c of s, let me write it nicer, p of s, c of s, r of s. And then finally from here we have that yr of s is equal to, let's see what we have in the numerator. We have p of s, c of s, and in the denominator we have 1 plus p of s, c of s, and don't forget r of s. Good. So this is yr. Next, we need to compute yd. To compute yd, we assume that this r of s doesn't exist, that is, we set it to 0, and we proceed in the similar fashion. Now y becomes yd as well as over here. And again, we go backwards, and let's see what we have. Okay. We have that yd of s is equal to, here we have to be careful. Here we have obviously p of s, and now since d of s is not equal to 0, it will appear over here, and over here we will still have u of s. However, u of s can be expressed like this. We have p of s, d of s, and over here instead of u of s, we can obviously write c of s multiplying yd of s with the minus sign. So we can write this. We can write c of s multiplying minus yd. Okay? So once we do that, we can proceed further. So we have that yd of s. Let's multiply all the terms. We have p of s, d of s, and let's see what we have over here. We have p of s, c of s, multiplying minus d. So we have minus p of s multiplying c of s multiplying yd. And then, similarly to the previous case, we have yd of s plus p of s, c of s, yd is equal to p of s, d of s. And finally, from this equation, we have that yd is equal to p of s, d of s, and in the denominator we have 1 plus p of s, c of s. And that's it. Simple as that. And the final expression becomes y is equal to yr plus yd, and this becomes y is equal to, yr was computed previously, it is p of s, c of s over 1 plus p of s, c of s, and over here we will have simply r of s, and here we will have this expression multiplying d of s. In the numerator we have obviously p of s, and in the denominator we have 1 plus p of s, c of s, and that's it. This is the transfer function from the reference signal to the output, and this is the transfer function from the disturbance. Both of these transfer functions are closed-loop transfer functions. Okay, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.